Happy 2026, everyone, and welcome to my Week 18 NFL predictions. It's a new year, but the same style. One more week to go. 3 divisions to settle. I won a putrid 8-8 last week, which brings my total to 161-95, just above 62%. I really hope we have a final good week of the regular season. Maybe I get some good picks in the playoffs, but we got some matchups to predict. Some of them are inconsequential, some of them are really big, so let's just get started. No Thursday night football game. We cut right into Saturday with Carolina at Tampa Bay, the battle for the NFC South, aka the worst division in NFL history. The Panthers are coming off of a blowout loss to the Seattle Seahawks. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers also lost in embarrassing fashion to the Miami Dolphins. Now, obviously, both of these teams are very untrustworthy. However, even with Carolina's ineptitude, Tampa Bay is around 1-7 ever since they started out 6-2. They're absolutely terrible. Ever since the bye, they've lost countless games, and that's why I'm picking Carolina. Now, am I confident about this pick? Absolutely not. Tampa Bay still has some things going for it. They still have a little bit of experience in big games and like playoff type games. Obviously, their offense has been getting a little bit healthier by the week, and they're at home. So who knows? Maybe that creates a variable of unexpectedness, but overall, Carolina has just been the more consistent team. And in my opinion, they are more trustworthy because I think Bryce Young can actually execute in some of these big games. I think against the division, apart from the Saints, he's actually been pretty good. So who knows? I think he might actually make some plays. And overall, Baker Mayfield just hasn't been good this season, or at least in the second half of the season. So I don't really know if I can trust him to make the big plays. I think he might make one mistake or two, and that's going to cost them. This is probably going to be an ugly game, but overall, I think Carolina is going to walk away with it. In terms of the key players, I think it is Bryce Young because, once again, Bryce Young is so inconsistent. If we get the great version of Bryce Young, then the Panthers are going to win easily. They're going to blow them out. But if we get the terrible one, then the Panthers are probably going to completely collapse and they're going to lose because if Bryce Young is at his worst, then there's absolutely no way that the Panthers can win, even with their defense or running game playing well. Meanwhile, for the Buccaneers, I think it's Bucky Irving. I think if they are able to give him some great usage, minimize the pressure that Baker Mayfield has. It seems like ever since the start of the season, Baker Mayfield hasn't really been able to carry that load. So if Bucky Irving can carry it and Baker Mayfield doesn't have to make a bunch of explosive plays, which is how he makes his mistakes, I think the Buccaneers might be able to win. But overall, recent history, aka the last 2 or 3 months, has shown me that Carolina is the more consistent team. And now to a way better division decider. This should have been Sunday Night Football, to be honest. We got Seattle at San Francisco. Seattle's coming off of a blowout loss blowout win against Carolina, like I just mentioned. Meanwhile, the 49ers, they won on a thriller last Sunday night against the Chicago Bears. This is a very hard matchup to predict because the winner will get the 1 seed while the loser will go down to the 5 or 6 seed. It's kind of crazy how big this matchup is. But I'm not going to lie, I might drink the Kool-Aid from last week. I'm going to take San Francisco for this. I just think that their offense has been so good. We see that it doesn't matter what weapons they have. They can be missing Kittle. They can be missing Ayuk for the whole year. Christian McCaffrey's obviously still there. Brock Purdy's still there. They can make it work with Kendrick Bourne, Juwan Jennings, whoever the backup tight end is. I think the 49ers offense will be able to execute. It is a matter of Sam Darnold. We'll see how he appears in big games. But overall, I think even if Sam Darnold is able to respond to the pressure of those big games, even if he's able to connect with Jackson Smith-Njigba and put up 30, I just think that the 49ers will be able to outgun the Seattle defense too much. If it's a shootout, I think the Niners will win easily. I think the Seahawks have to make the game extremely ugly. But if the game is extremely ugly, I just don't think Sam Darnold will be able to respond because we know how he can be if he falls under pressure like last year against Minnesota or last year against Detroit or last year against LA. It did not look very good. But overall, I think this will be a very good game. And again, I don't know why this isn't Sunday Night Football. Saturday night, really? That should have been reserved for the AFC North battle. Key players, for me, it's a coaching battle because, like I said, it doesn't matter if Sam Darnold throws for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. If Mike McDonald and his defensive expertise isn't able to outwit Kyle Shanahan and his offensive expertise, then it won't matter because the San Francisco 49ers will be able to win very easily because they'll just hang 35 or 40 on them. But I just think if Mike McDonald is able to minimize Christian McCaffrey, make Purdy make some mistakes, then I think they'll be able to come out with a win. But I just think Kyle Shanahan is too experienced in the regular season. He's too smart. He's too built for this moment. He's overcome many challenges before, and I think he'll overcome one more and be able to win the NFC West. And now to the Sunday slate. Again, no Thursday night football. We got the Colts at the Texans. The Colts are coming off of like their fifth straight loss against the Jaguars. Meanwhile, the Texans, they got like their eighth straight win against the Chargers. Keeping this one brief, I think the Texans are going to win this one very easily. Phillip Rivers retired for the second and final time, hopefully. Riley Leonard's going to start. And again, against that Texans defense, it's just going to be very ugly. I think that the Texans defense is maybe he can maybe even get a shutout. And I think they'll still be motivated because I think they'll want to get that top wildcard spot. So I think Houston overall, they dominate. Now we got the Browns at the Bengals. The Browns are coming off of an upset win against the Steelers, which heavily impacted the playoff picture. Meanwhile, the Bengals, they got like their third straight win against the Arizona Cardinals in blowout fashion. I think the Bengals are going to win this one. I think it could be close. It could be a very ugly matchup. But I think overall, the Bengals offense has been clicking a lot ever since they got eliminated. Ever since the shutout against Baltimore, they've hung like 40 on the Dolphins and then hung like 37 on the Cardinals. They've been pretty impressive. I just think Joe Burrow, this could be his final game. And really the only thing to watch is Myles Garrett and his sack record. I think the Bengals are going to pull off their offense either way, but we'll just see if Garrett can break the sack record because it would be kind of sad if he didn't after being on pace to have like 27 at one point. And also we'll see what Shador has, but I think another thing to watch is maybe this could be Joe Burrow's last game as a Bengal, so keep an eye on that. Now I got the Saints at the Falcons. The Saints are coming off like their third straight win against the Titans. Meanwhile, the Falcons, they upset the Rams on Monday Night Football for a win last week. This is a very hard game. Again, you all know how much I hate the NFC South, and I'm not even going to lie, I flipped the coin for this one, and that's why I'm picking Atlanta. Not because of how good Bijan Robinson is, not how good Kirk Cousins has been playing, not how much I don't believe in Tyler Shuck, literally just because it landed on heads, and that was the Falcons' side of the coin. I think, honestly, I could get shucked. I think Tyler Shuck might have a good game, and he might be able to beat them. But overall, this division has been so unpredictable. I just think Atlanta, they're just good at pulling off these unexpected results, and I think they're going to pull it off once again. And also a thing to watch for this is that the Falcons, if they win and Tampa Bay wins as well, the Panthers still get in the playoffs. So the Buccaneers actually need some extra help in this game. So honestly, I'm kind of rooting for Tyler Shuck because, again, I would kind of rather see the Tampa Bay than Carolina in the playoffs. But overall, I just don't really care. I'm just tired of this dang division. Now we got Green Bay at Minnesota. Green Bay is coming off of their second straight loss after a blowout, getting throttled by Baltimore. Meanwhile, the Vikings, they were able to beat the Lions to knock them out of the playoffs on Christmas last week. This is a pretty hard game because I actually don't know if the Packers are going to rest starters or not. But honestly, even if they do, I'm going to take Green Bay in this one because the backup, Malik Willis, we've seen that he can play like prime Lamar Jackson. I don't know if Brian Flores is going to force 6 turnovers, and again, there's not many games that you're going to win with Max Brosmer being your starting quarterback. Even if he plays, honestly, I don't think he'll be able to outgun Malik Willis. And despite how good Brian Flores is, I don't think he'll be able to force that many turnovers out of Malik Willis. I think the Packers offense will be able to get to like 20 points, and it'll be enough because Max Brosmer is just that inept. Now I got the Titans at the Jaguars. The Titans are coming off of a loss to the New Orleans Saints. Meanwhile, the Jaguars were able to rally in the fourth quarter and beat the Indianapolis Colts. I think this one, I could overthink it and say that the Titans will pull off the upset, but I think Jacksonville will take care of them ultimately. This is just the Titans are just not good. It's in Duval. A thing to watch is that Jacksonville needs to win this to win the AFC South. Otherwise, the Texans can maybe snatch it. So I think they will start all their starters. Trevor Lawrence and all those guys are going to play. Overall, Jacksonville has too much firepower despite how good Tennessee's been playing. I think Cam Ward might have a solid performance, but I think his rocky rookie year is going to end on another sour note. Now we got the Cowboys at the Giants. The Cowboys are coming off of a Christmas Day win against the Commanders. Meanwhile, the Giants, they won the game but lost the Tank Bowl last week against the Las Vegas Raiders. Another inconsequential game against a division opponent, that is the Dak Prescott special. The Cowboys are going to win this one. We've seen Dak Prescott. He's great against division rivals. He's great against the Giants. He'll be able to carve them up. I think the Giants are probably going to also want to lose this game. So again, I think the Cowboys will want to end the year on a high note, even though they're not close to the playoffs. I think Dak will have a great game, and overall, maybe Jackson Dart can keep it close, but I just don't see the Cowboys losing this one, especially because we know how good they are in games that have absolutely no stakes. Now we got the Cardinals at the Rams. The Cardinals are coming off of a blowout loss to the Bengals. Meanwhile, the Rams, they fell short of a comeback against the Falcons last Monday night. A very frustrating loss. I think the Rams will easily bounce back and be able to win this game. We saw them face earlier, like 2 weeks ago, in which the Rams completely destroyed them on both sides of the ball, offensive and defensive. And we just see that the Cardinals offense, despite how fun it was to watch Jacoby Brissett throw for like 400 yards, he hasn't really done that in like the last 2 weeks. anything that he had, any gas that he had left in the tank has just been exhausted. And I just think that the Rams, they'll be able to they want to go into the playoffs with some momentum. So I think that they're going to pull out some of the stops, at least in like one of the halves, and just completely destroy them. And I just don't think the Cardinals will have anything to answer. The only thing that they have going for them is the fact that Trey McBride is having a great season. He might be first team All-Pro because he's honestly been the only like very good tight end this season. Now we got KC at the Raiders. The Kansas City Chiefs are coming off of a Christmas Day loss in last-second fashion to the Denver Broncos. Meanwhile, the Raiders, they won the Tank Bowl but lost the game against the New York Giants last week. Both of these teams are terrible. We're talking about the Kansas City C team versus the Raiders, who are arguably the worst team in the league. But I don't think we realize just how bad the Raiders are. Even with KC's ineptitude, even with Aladu Khan, I just don't think that they'll be as bad as the Raiders because the Raiders are just so bad. They have no one. No Brock Bowers. No Max Crosby. They have really no one on defense anyway. Ashton Jinty's probably not going to do much because KC's defense is still not it's not terrible. And also, I just think that the Raiders, they're going to want to get the overall pick. That's the one thing to watch. If they lose this game, they clinch the number one overall pick. If they lose, I think it goes back into like the Giants, I think, have a chance at getting it. We'll see if that happens. But overall, I just think the Raiders, they have no incentive to lose this game. Even despite KC's efforts, they'll probably want to lose it, but they're just not going to out-tank the Raiders. Now we got Washington at Philadelphia. Washington is coming off of a Christmas Day loss against the Cowboys. Meanwhile, the Eagles, they won in last-second fashion against Buffalo last week in a very frustrating defensive game. I think Philly's going to rest some starters, even though I think they still have the 2 seed to play for, and I think they should play for that. Even with the backups, I think Philly's going to win this one. I think Tanner McKee, he honestly hasn't been that terrible. I think maybe they play some starters trying to get the momentum. And even still, the Commanders' defense is just so bad that honestly, I think that the Philly backups might still be able to get some points off. And I don't know how much I trust Josh Johnson to play against that Philly defense in Philadelphia, even if it is backups. I just think Philly is just way too top-heavy. I just think they're way too deep. I just think they're way better than the Commanders. And the Commanders, they're just deflated the whole season. I think they just want to get it over with. And it being in Philadelphia in front of all those fans, I think Philly's going to get one last victory before the playoffs. Now we got the Dolphins at the Patriots. The Dolphins are coming off of an upset, quote-unquote, win against Tampa Bay. Meanwhile, the Patriots completely throttled the Jets in a 42-10 victory. The Patriots already won the AFC East, so this game really doesn't have many stakes. I think the Patriots still have a 1 seed to play for, but I still think they'll win this game. Maybe they play all the starters in the first half, trying to get some like stats or something like that, and then maybe they rest them. But even with Patriots backups, the Dolphins are just not very good. Their running game hasn't been as great, and the Patriots, they're just way too good. Their run defense is really good. Drake May will probably kill them off in the first half. And again, I just think the Patriots will take care of them as they've been really good in the division this season outside of their last game against Buffalo. Now we got the Lions at the Bears. The Lions are coming off of an elimination game against the Vikings on Christmas. Meanwhile, the Bears, they're coming off of a shootout loss to the San Francisco 49ers. Now, the Bears are already in the playoffs, and I think they'll probably clinch the 2 seed because Philadelphia might lose either way. Lions are out of the playoffs, but I still think the Bears are going to win this game. Mostly because we saw in week 2 that the Lions ran up the score. They completely destroyed Ben Johnson and the Bears. I think Ben Johnson will probably want to get revenge on them, just completely destroy them, probably get Caleb Williams to 4,000 yards. We'll see if he's able to get that total. It would be really historic. But overall, I just think Ben Johnson's going to be so pissed off at the Lions that he'll be able to give them one final middle finger and just completely destroy them. Honestly, I'm rooting for that to happen. But also, I just think the Bears, again, they have the 2 seed to play for, which I think they should go and get. So I think they might play some starters. And with how deflated Detroit is, I just don't really see them putting up a fight. Now you got the Chargers at the Broncos. The Chargers are coming off of a Saturday night loss against the Texans. Meanwhile, the Broncos are coming off of a Christmas night win against the Chiefs. I think Justin Herbert's not going to play in this one. I think Jim Harbaugh reported that earlier this week. So I think Denver's going to win because if you think that Justin Herbert doesn't look as great in that terrible offensive line, how the hell do you think Trey Lance will look? Denver's going to absolutely feast all over him. This game is probably not even going to be close. It's going to be crazy. And Denver still has the 1 seed to play for. If they lose, it can fall into the hands of New England or Jacksonville. So they do have to watch their backs for that. But I just think they'll be able to take care of Trey Lance, lock up the 1 seed, maybe rest some starters in the second half. And this would maybe even be like a mini bye week right next to their actual bye week if they get the 1 seed. So I think Denver's going to throttle them. And for the Chargers, they'll definitely want to rest Herbert because he's already kind of rattled. So hopefully he doesn't have to face a ferocious defense in the playoffs because otherwise he might die. Now you got the Jets at Buffalo. The Jets are coming off of getting destroyed by the Patriots. Meanwhile, Buffalo, they lost in last-second, heartbreaking fashion. Seems like a theme for that franchise against the Philadelphia Eagles. It's the last game in Highmark Stadium because the Bills are probably going to be, or they're a wild card team. They likely won't get a home game, but I think Buffalo will win this one. The Jets are completely deflated. And honestly, the only thing to watch is the fact that it is maybe the last game in Highmark, so I think Buffalo will want to make it special and win for the fans. And also for the Jets, if Mitchell Trubisky, if he plays, or Josh Allen in general, if they don't throw an interception, the Jets will have gone the entire season without having a single pick. We'll have to see if that happens. It would be incredibly embarrassing and very fitting for that terrible franchise. So we'll see. Jets defense, honestly, for your sakes, please get an interception, even if it's against Mitchell Trubisky. And as for the Bills, it's just getting some momentum and just not going out on a sad note because after last week, if last week was the last game in Highmark, that would have been very embarrassing. And ending the week, we got the Ravens at the Steelers. Finally a game with two playoff teams that actually has meaning. This is the battle for the AFC North. Winner goes in to the 4 seed and probably plays the Texans. Loser goes out. Baltimore's coming off a dominating win against Green Bay. Meanwhile, the Steelers, they absolutely blew their chances after a game against the Browns. I don't really know who to pick because obviously both teams have been in this situation, it feels like, many times. They've choked many times. They've won the division on each other. Who's going to win this historic rivalry? For me, I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Am I confident about it? No, because the AFC North is almost as unpredictable and frustrating as the NFC South. But the Ravens just haven't been good at any big games. Look at all the games that they've won. Against the Dolphins, against like the Bears back in week 7. Like a lot of these games didn't really have many high stakes. They weren't really against great teams. And this is another one. Even if Lamar or Tyler Huntley plays, Lamar doesn't have a great history against the Steelers. And Tyler Huntley really doesn't either. I think Aaron Rodgers has been playing. He hasn't been playing that bad. Overall, I just think he'll be able to execute. Mike Tomlin, I think, is a better coach than John Harbaugh. Both of these coaches, I think, have a tendency of choking. But for me, I just trust Tomlin more than I trust Harbaugh. And overall, the Ravens, again, they're not built for the moment. Anytime any stakes have built up this season, they've completely collapsed and have completely blown their chances. So I think the Steelers will take advantage. And also, it's in Heinz Field, so I think the fans will be rocking. And overall, I think that those fans will be able to push the Steelers to victory. Key players, it's Derrick Henry for the Ravens, even if Lamar plays, because we saw that the only way that the Ravens were able to win last week was because Derrick Henry turned back into his 2020 form and completely ran over them. If he replicates something like that performance, then the Ravens will probably be able to win. Meanwhile, it's the two-headed monster of Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell for the Steelers because Metcalf is still going to be out, so they need some offensive punch, and Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell are the only ones that can produce that because obviously Aaron Rodgers is not going to do anything with his legs, and I think the tight ends might have gotten hurt as well. Maybe Freiermuth can also step up. Darnell Washington, I think, is hurt. So if those two guys have a great game, like they did against the Lions, and maybe the run defense is able to contain Derrick Henry like they did to Jahmyr Gibbs, I think the Steelers will be able to win, and I think they're going to walk away with the AFC North, which isn't a very impressive title, but it'd be very embarrassing for Baltimore. Honestly, if any of these two teams miss the playoffs, it will be a gigantic failure, and whoever wins is probably going to get crushed by the Texans in the wild card. And that is it for my Week 18 predictions. It's my last predictions video of the regular season. We're so close to the playoffs. Maybe I can end this week. Maybe I can end the regular season on a high note. Fingers crossed. But if you guys enjoyed this, please subscribe and please like, as any support is truly appreciated. I hope you all have an excellent 2026. Hope this is a great way to start it. And I'll see you guys in a couple of days at the end of Week 18.